important development coming in. The U.S. president saying he will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank, and addressing the topic after what was described as a phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to discuss resolving the Gaza conflict. Trump told reporters at the Oval Office that he will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank, and affirmed he will not allow it. It's not going to happen. The words of Mr. Trump. Netanyahu has faced some pressure from right-wing allies to annex the West Bank, prompting alarm among Arab leaders and Muslim leaders, of course, some of whom met on Tuesday with Trump on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Ministers like Smotrich and Ben Gvir had said that their reply to the recognition of the Palestinian state by France, the UK, and other big countries would be the annexation of the West Bank. But now the US president is saying that he will not allow this, and that this is not going to happen in what seems to be a very important development. Again, seems to be. Of course, there is the 21-point plan that that we know bits and pieces about. The Trump plan, the 21-point plan that came after his meeting with leaders and high-ranking officials of several Arab and Muslim countries in New York a couple of days ago. With us to discuss the developments live over the phone is Dr. Mohamed Salah, the political analyst. Dr. Salah, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. I'm happy to be with you and your generous followers at this meeting. Okay.
Happy to have you with us, Dr. Salah. Your input is always valued, sir. Now, Dr. Salah, listening to the words of Mr. Trump, he will not allow it, I will not allow it, it's not going to happen, talking about the annexation of the West Bank by Israel. I mean, one could look at this from many different angles. One could say, oh, this is another American trick, like the January trick. Mr. Trump came to power, he enforced the ceasefire, and then he allowed, and in the view of some, encouraged Israel to violate the ceasefire and continue its policy, its genocide policy and policy of starvation. One could see it from that angle. Another could see it from the angle of, you know, maybe Mr. Trump finally got fed up with the Israeli war crime suspect Benjamin Netanyahu, just like he seemingly got fed up with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Mr. Trump saying about Putin recently and about Russia that, you know, that he believed Ukraine is on the verge of victory, and that Russia, entre parenthèses, is a poor country that has many economic problems. The third angle could be that the pressure of the international community finally paid off. The pressure by France, Saudi Arabia, the two-state solution conference, the pressure by Egypt, the pressure by you know, European countries like Spain and others, by South Africa, Brazil, Colombia. So maybe finally the Qatar, after it got struck, after the mediator got hit by Israel, so maybe the pressure finally and the Israeli mistakes paid off. Which angle, and I'm going to leave the mic to you, and I'm not going to intervene, which angle do you see Mr. Trump's statements from, and why?
Let's say, first of all, I have to say that we have a lot of problems regarding the current situation about what is going on Gaza Strip, and a huge number of war crimes that is taking place in this war, which is really between a very strong army with civilians. You do not have a war between two armies, and they would go in a negotiation, or have to go into negotiations or bilateral discussions between them in order to reach a commitment. You are talking about a very hard war, a very barbaric war or barbaric actions that are taken by army of an state like Israel, And all of these crimes, or all of these war crimes, have ended up about for the people of the human all over the world. We have to note that we are all notified against this war. All of the people around the world now have one main goal, which is ending up what's happening on this war. You have to stop targeting civilians. You have to end up these war crimes that are taken daily. We have an annual or a usual news every day is about killing 19 or 100 or 200 of Palestinians or of civilians in Palestine. All of these actions should end or must end. This is the main target or the main goal from all the people around the world, not only in the Middle East. Now we are talking about resistance in Latin America. We are talking about resistance in Europe. Have a resistance for this war or against this war or opposition against this war in America itself. On America itself, we have a lot of Americans now are talking in a very huge or very loud voice against the coalition between America and Israel. And they have to ask more about what's going on, about the spreading of war in the Middle East. You are not targeting Hamas only. You are targeting all nations in the Middle East in general. What you have said about the great Israel theory, about Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu is believing on this. All of these actions have been arised that the main issue or the main problem now is not regaining hostages from Hamas. The main reason or the main aim of Benjamin Netanyahu now is how to open many fronts for war in the Middle East, how to spread in the Middle East, how to take others' land and others' resources in the Middle East. So the people around the world and the nations in general have announced, have understood well the main problem of what's happening in the Middle East, and this is the main problem for President Trump and for Benjamin Netanyahu. In the other hand, you have to understand well also that during the existence or the General Assembly of the United Nations now in New York, in the United States of America, we have found that very good pressure or a very high pressure against what is going on. If you took a main topic for this General Assembly, this main topic will be the Palestinian issue. We have to put an end for what's going in the Middle East. You are now talking about what we can say a sustainable and strong peace process that must be taken under the supervision of the international community in order to end up targeting civilians, in order to end up violence, in order to give the world the chance to improve, the chance to get a very strong and a very real development for all the people around the world.
Yes.
So this is the main pressure. This is what's pressing on President Trump and on Benjamin Netanyahu at the same time. They have to understand well that the continuous recognition from the European people and European states like Great Britain, like France, like many other states in Europe, why they are now taking these actions or these historical actions at these days. This is because going them or defining them in order to stop all of these war crimes that are taking part now in the Middle East.
Yes, Dr. Salah. And indeed, all of war crime suspect Israeli Premier Netanyahu's actions and statements indicated that he's moving towards the so-called Greater Israel dream. With no respect for any borders, for any peoples. We understand, Dr. Salah, that the Arab leaders and high-ranking officials that had met with President Trump in New York had asked for a number of things and put it as red lines. First of all, the annexation of the West Bank was a red line, and here today, earlier Thursday, we were seeing Mr. Trump saying it's not going to happen. that Israel would not occupy Gaza. This is a red line, and we're hearing that the 21-point plan is talking about a gradual Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Now, but 2 points remain here, or 3 points remain. The humanitarian aid that must come in immediately, and of course Egypt is pushing for this, you know, very in a very hard way. And we heard President Al-Sisi earlier Thursday saying through his official spokesperson after he met with Premier Madbouli, saying that you know, there is a necessity, an urgent necessity for getting the aid in to the Palestinians. Also, there is another red line about the building of illegal Israeli settlements in the West Bank, and about the undermining of the status quo at the Holy Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied East Jerusalem, Al-Quds. So, is this, you know, is this going to work in the end? I mean, can Mr. Trump enforce, you know, all of this?
Well, I would like to say that the main reason for all the red lines or all the requests that have been delivered by Muslim and Arab leaders on this session with President Trump were for one reason, which is enhancing bilateral relations between Arab and Muslim nations, and which also is being done or was being counted out, or has been counted out, or giving out military coalitions between Arab and Muslim nations, such as the Saudi-Pakistani coalition, or armed coalition, yes, or military coalition, about the high level of military cooperation between Egypt and Turkey.
Yeah, the naval exercises, yes.
Yes, I think these treatments or these coalitions, as it's a very clear reason, or a very clear result for what's going on in the Middle East, especially after targeting Qatar and after delivering it a strike and airstrike. This is where a very clear message for President Trump and for Benjamin Netanyahu that the current situation or the current political situation in the Middle East will not continue as it is. So it will be changed, it will be transformed into a new political situation that will generate more military coalition forces in the Middle East, and this will give the Middle East what's called balance, a military balance, or a balance of power between Egypt, or between the Arab nations and Muslim nations and Israel. This kind of balance will help to end up this war, because of one of the most reasons for what's happening, what's going on Gaza Strip now, is lack of balance. This is very important note. We have to understand well. Once we got a number of news, a number of news between reporters or between journalists about the upcoming coalition, a military coalition in the Middle East, all of the situation has been changed. Why this situation has been changed? Because they do not want spreading this kind of coalition between Arab and Muslim nations. And this is the main reason. This is the main reason for the requests, or for what has been delivered by the Arab and Muslim leaders with President Trump. And this is the real reason why President Trump accepted or said that he is approving these requests, and he will be generating a new formula with Benjamin Netanyahu in order to avoid his request about annexation of the West Bank, or about the humanitarian human aid, about all of these actions, about what's going on in Al-Aqsa Mosque. All of these ideas, or all of these targets by Benjamin Netanyahu won't be accepted by America anymore. This is because the strategic interest by the United States will be affected by this new coalition, or new military coalition, that is urged now in the Middle East, and it becomes, like we can say, as a fact. It's not about expectation for the future. It's not an expectation. It's a fact now, and and we have to treat it as a fact. This is the main reason for the acceptance of President Trump for what's delivered in this summit.
Yes. Again, I'm returning to the same point. But should we believe Mr. Trump this time? Should we trust him this time? I mean, again, the meeting today that featured the president alongside the prime minister and a host of other ministers and high-ranking officials. During that meeting, Prime Minister Madbouli informed President Sisi that Mr. Trump had informed the gathering that he met with that he believed the reconstruction of Gaza can happen without the relocation of Palestinians or their displacement from their homeland. Again, something that seems to be a very important development. Egypt also affirmed, the official spokesperson for the presidency saying after the meeting today that the president affirmed again that upholding the Camp David peace treaty and that peace is a strategic choice for Egypt. But at the same time, there is a categorical rejection of the Israeli practices against Palestinians, the genocide practices, and of course the forced displacement or relocation of Palestinians from their homeland. So I'm speaking, which is a red line for Egypt and also for Arab and Muslim countries. How should we believe, that things this time will be different, or can things change once Mr. Trump receives the Israeli Prime Minister, the war crime suspect Netanyahu, in a few days' time?
Well, I would like to say, Mr. Mohamed, that we have to believe Mr. Trump this time for many reasons. First reason is about what is going on in the West world, about the coalition between Europe and America, which is facing a very huge number of problems regarding tariffs, regarding the war between Russia and Ukraine, about what we can go about the bilateral relation between them. They have a lot of problems regarding the West world, and all of these actions should be taken into consideration. And for the second time, why we should go with Mr. Trump this time is about the military coalition that has been reformed now or reinformed now in the Middle East. It is a very important challenge that's happening. The third is about what's going now in United States itself, United States of America. We have a lot of opposition, a lot of voices. Voices are calling now for ending up this war. Mr. Trump, or President Trump, now is accused of doing genocide in Palestine with Benjamin Netanyahu. He's supporting him. He gave him a blank check to do all what he wants in Palestine. Nowadays, we have heard about Mr. Tucker Carlson, which is a prominent TV presenter, and his accusation and his opposition to what's going on in Gaza. And we are talking about Tucker Carlson. We are talking about a very important and prominent TV presenter who is affecting and influencing on all of the Americans. You have to know well that the American people itself, their ideas regarding what's going on in the Middle East have been changed a lot. Now we have a lot of supporters for Palestine from the Native Americans in America itself. We have to understand well that about the problems or the economic problems that's facing the United States of America. It's still in a need for a lot of investment from Gulf, from Europe. If they won't be able to gain these investments without ending up this war. We have also to know well that the pressure that are coming from the international community also should be taken into consideration. All of these ideas, in addition of this, about what's going in China and what's going between China and Russia and India at the other side of the world, and how this coalition is being reformed in a very strong basis about the military cooperation between Russia and China, economic cooperation between Russia and China. Now we have in the East world we have an important emerging economic system that will be very important for the economic status of the world in general. All of these changes are taking part in order to for Mr. Trump to oblige him or to give him the real reason to recalculate what's going on or to redefine his situation about the issues or what's happening in the Middle East. And we have to end up this war by any means, because all of these actions or all of these subjects or all of these files, not only for Gaza Strip itself.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed Salah, the political analyst, as always, for your time. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching us here on Nile TV International, our coverage of the latest regarding Gaza, the Just Palestinian Cause, the UN General Assembly meetings, and U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement that he will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. He will not allow it. It's not going to happen, the words of Mr. Trump. All right. In less than 10 minutes' time, we'll be back with the news here on Nile TV. Please stay with us.